The Radio Vet with Dr. Kelly is back on the air on CPL Radio, and we have her here in the studio as opposed to all those other times when she's always here. We've never done this remotely. So have Dr. Kelly out in the field. She's in the middle of an operation, and so on this fine August day, what have you brought for us to talk about?
I would like to talk about socializing all these new puppies while we still are practicing the physical distancing and things, really aren't normal.
Yeah, because we don't want a bunch of puppy jerks out there. We want nice puppies.
Oh, right. We don't want fearful puppies.
No, fearful
dogs.
Aggressive, I guess aggression comes out of fear.
Most aggression in dogs is fear-based.
I learned that from Star Wars.
Really?
All aggression comes out of fear, yes. Yoda said so. So you got a new fluff ball at home, and how do we begin the socialization process?
Well, normally we would want to sign up for a puppy socialization class or puppy kindergarten or whatever you want to call it.
Canceled.
Yeah, exactly.
So, there's that.
And you would also want to be taking your puppy on walks where they can meet all kinds of new people who look different, sound different, little kids, people who pet your puppy differently than you do. Those are all really important experiences at a certain stage of life in order for them to be well socialized adults.
I remember you saying on this show that there's a very small bracket.
A window.
Yeah,
there's a window. The socialization period is a period of brain development, and it is over at a certain point.
Mine is 2. I'm done.
Not that a dog was poorly socialized in the past can't be improved, but they'll never have quite the same level of what they could have had if they were socialized during the right time.
Let me tell you, we're living that every day in my house because of the doggy I was telling you before the broadcast who's stuck in embarrassing clothes lately. Maybe that's the problem. But she's come a long way, but she spent the first at least 3 years of her life in a cage in a puppy mill. Yeah. And so
really no socialization at all.
No.
She was essentially livestock.
Yes. Yeah. And we're working on it. We actually have someone from the Grafton, is that Knowles over there?
Yes.
I think, yeah. So they a couple of young girls. They can't be like 17 or 18, but they know their stuff. Yeah. They come in, and they only come in for like 15 minutes once a week, or her tutors, we call that.
To your home. This is private.
To our home.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. And they just give her these little tips and tricks for us. Yeah. And so she's on her way, but boy, it takes it's not.
Yeah. That's
it's kind of a mess. She doesn't trust. Yeah. She's not very trusting of people. She's
true,
and she's very needy for my wife is sort of her main and she's not home. She sits in the window and will wait for up to 45 minutes or 6 hours, whichever comes first. So we have nose marks on our window right now. So it's
but it's very understandable behavior too. Mm-hmm. But hopefully with time and patience and the behavioral exercises that you're being given, she will open up.
I think she's come remarkably long way already, so I can't complain.
Yeah,
but it's just sad. It's just sad because I do feel like she
could have been a different dog.
She could have been exactly.
She could have been a different dog.
And she's so sweet, and she really is a very loving pup, but she's got these little issues,
Yes. Yeah, and the great thing about dogs, though, is that they never stop learning. Yeah.
Well, every day she's got a new lesson, that's for sure. Yesterday she learned that she loves donuts. She loves bakery. We learned that about
difficult
her
to teach?
So easy. In fact, all it took was having a hand dangling off the side of the chair. So to not get in these issues like we have, because like you said, to going for walks and having other people, fondle your dog. I mean,
these days we have to be creative.
Yeah.
So one part of socialization is, like I said, meeting different people who look differently, people who wear hats, people who wear who have beards.
Sure. Yeah.
People who have headphones on.
Glasses, yeah.
Yeah,
sure,
glasses, exactly. Good example. And you can be this person
Are you suggesting that we play act?
Yes. One exercise for helping your dog see these things in a safe environment and learn to be accepting of them and learn that they are not threatening is to go out of your house or out of a room that your puppy is in. Spray yourself with a scent that is unfamiliar to the puppy. Maybe put on a hat. Walk back in and drop some treats and let the puppy, hopefully not have a fearful reaction,
wow.
but learn that, okay, this is I was just bombarded by an unfamiliar smell, and the outline of this person has changed, and I'm not totally sure who it is, but I just got showered with my favorite treat.
Right. Absolutely. You said different smell, and I guess that's the big one, isn't it?
That is a big, important thing for dogs. So they experience the world very differently than we do, and their noses are 100 times as sensitive as ours, and that is a great amount of their input.
That must suck.
Sometimes, I'm sure it does. But then again, this is the world as they've known it all along.
I can't get my son to shower, and he's over there, hanging out with the dogs. They must be just sick to their stomach.
I don't know. I mean, dogs dogs like things that we could never conceive of liking.
That is true. So, my prior dog used to, if there was a bad smell in the front yard, would just go roll. They had to find the stinky thing and roll all over their body. Yeah. And then there's all the dogs who think it's fantastically fun to eat poop. So, they must perceive things pretty differently than we do. That alone sets them apart. Interesting. So, and like you said, I've been reading articles that adoptions for dogs, certainly, and just pets all around, is skyrocketing because the pandemic is a good time, but they are missing this socialization aspect.
Yeah,
and that's
some of the positives coming out of this are that people who are still working from home these days are home more. That's actually a benefit. As far as raising a puppy.
Our dogs are so happy
That
right
is
now.
a benefit.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's potentially a negative side to that, though, is when more people go back to going to work, not at home.
I don't even want to know.
Might we have a whole bunch of clingy dogs who are suddenly very unhappy?
Plunged into therapy.
So part of socialization is also teaching independence.
Yeah.
So that means you have this beautiful new puppy. You're trying to expose them to different things, including smells and sounds and sights. But you also need to introduce them to being alone. Mm-hmm, yeah. And so, having them in a room, maybe brushing them for a minute or two as part of their socialization, dropping a handful of treats, walking out of the room, shutting the door, going back in literally 15 seconds later is a start.
Do you think getting puppies in pairs is a good idea to kind of ease off that alone thing? Because, they are social animals.
They are social animals.
It's not like, their natural happy place is solitude.
Yeah. The problem with getting puppies in pairs is that they will bond more strongly often with each other than their owners.
Okay.
And you, in order to house train them, have to take them out one at a time.
Oh, well, that's true. We have two, and that still stands.
It's a lot more work.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
a lot more work, and a puppy's a lot of work to begin with.
Oh, it is. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I discourage it, and the people who I personally know who are really into dog behavior and are really good at training, discourage it as well.
Interesting.
Don't get litter mates.
Okay. Oh, wow. Really? Okay. Yeah, and we didn't. We have two distinctly different dogs. But I think when we do return to our normal lives in 2028, we'll be...
oh, dear.
I'm an optimist, clearly. I think they're kind of aloof to each other now, but I think they will bond more when we're gone. And
possibly,
So I think we're set up, but I don't know. Again, with getting two puppies, and I can't even imagine. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of paper towel.
Yeah.
That's a lot of paper towel. Interesting. So, will you see fearful or aggressive behaviors early on that you can identify, or is that something that you're just trying to avert?
You can, but those are more the part of the personality that's inherited.
Aha. Oh, boy. Had to bring up the family, didn't you?
Oh, no, that's genetic.
That's Aunt Tilly.
I've seen puppies at 8 weeks who, when I have them up on an exam table and I'm petting them and examining them and say, I have to touch their back legs and they growl at me.
Aha.
That's very worrisome.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Very worrisome. I've seen some, though, that completely grew out of it and became totally normal dogs. So thank goodness.
Yeah, well, right. I mean, that's heading down the the rough highway there. Okay, so interesting. So in these times, like you said, besides masquerading as somebody else and spraying yourself with a Renews It, lavender or something,
what else can you do?
What else can you do?
You can have now this is a lot of effort, I personally think, but it's a great idea. You can have a room in your house that changes every single day. I know. Like a scene on a movie set.
So you have
I don't know who these people are that have all of these props.
You need a gaffer, the best boy, the electrician, these
I don't know.
union guys schlepping lights in.
Exactly. One day you open the door and it's a playground. One day you open the door and it's a salon. One day you open the door and it's the library.
It's a police precinct. A MASH. Looks like the swamp.
Because you're kind of stuck not being able to go all these places necessarily.
Got time to.
But there are still a lot of places you can go. You can put your mask on and take your puppy to Home Depot.
That's true. That is true. This is a shameless plug. The N7 coffee shop in Grafton, they are puppy friendly, which is interesting. They were. I don't know if they are now. But
you mean you can take your puppy inside?
You can.
Really?
Oh, but people do it.
They serve food.
I know. Isn't that weird?
Oh. Maybe we shouldn't be saying this.
Sorry guys.
We just outed them.
Closed by the health inspector.
Department.
Well, we had a bar here in Cedarburg too.
But they did
not serve food.
They only
That's
served
true.
alcohol.
It was booze, yeah. Well, sorry guys. I'd still love your cinnamon rolls. I often wondered that myself how they were pulling that off. But
this isn't Europe.
It's not a buffet line, at least. Yeah, right. Well, until they're shut down because of the Radio Vet with Dr. Kelly, you can take your dog to N7. And obviously you can still walk them, but I just don't know how much.
So then you can socialize your dog from a 6-foot distance.
Okay.
You can. So other people, maybe you don't want them touching your dog, or maybe you do.
Yeah.
But, maybe levels, you don't want them, getting too close to you. But your puppy's still seeing them. And still, sort of meeting them, just not necessarily being handled by them.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can still, meet other people,
there
and you
options.
can still, if you have family members who also adopted a puppy or already have a well-behaved, trustworthy adult dog, who you're seeing during the pandemic, you can set up, puppy play dates, which are also part of socialization.
Sure.
They are not the entirety of socialization. A lot of people seem to think that socializing your puppy means just playing with other dogs, and it absolutely does not. That's a small part of it.
Sure, absolutely. Meet the mailman, the letter carrier, I should say.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're going to take a break and sell some stuff, and I love what you described as like a well-behaved,
trustworthy.
Yes. all labels I have yet to achieve. All right. We'll be back right after this, folks. And we're back on the Radio Vet with Dr. Kelly, our veterinarian show. We have one here on this radio network, and I think we're the only radio station in southeastern Wisconsin that has a veterinarian show. I haven't heard any on WTMJ. I've heard none on the Ideas Network over at WPR.
Okay.
I'm a fan of all of these, but we got them.
I think there have been in the past.
Probably like for 1 week, but we are here every. Come on now. Please. Right. I'm having a moment, Dr. Kelly. Let me have my moment. So, speaking of having a moment, it's been possible. We're talking today about socializing your new puppy in our crazy pandemic times. And so I have a dog, and actually he's 5 today, we've discovered. I think it took us 5 years to figure that out.
Okay.
But this is actually his birthday. He's my little rat terrier.
Yes.
And he is one fearful dude. Now, he's really small. He's a 9-pounder, so he has every reason to be terrified of everything.
He's pretty tiny.
Yeah, he's minute.
Okay.
But, I mean, he doesn't act aggressively ever, but he's sheepish. He's a sheepish pup. He meets other people well. He's very friendly to other people. But I think his fear comes from the fact that, potentially the stock market might crash. he's a nervous fellow.
Do you get your tips from him? Do you know when to sell based on his behavior?
Why, yes, I do. And if you call 555-1212, we're taking clients right now. No, he's just he's very, like, if you drop something in the kitchen, he'll be nervous for 2 days.
Okay.
He holds on to these things, and I don't know where that came from. And we got him as a stray, so he was brought in from Kentucky. He has a drawl.
His bark sounds different. Yep.
So I wonder if that's part of a socialization thing that we're talking about today.
Probably was one of those things that maybe could have been tempered a bit with better socialization, but
it's on me.
There is a well-known fearful personality that is quite inherited in dogs as well.
Well, he and I get along really well because we both have the same viewpoint of the world. Like, we totally, we are absolutely on. Everyone makes fun of us because sometimes we'll just cower in the corner and shake together. It's great.
So how do you change his mind about something specific, like say the vacuum cleaner?
Not too bad with the vacuum.
Okay.
But we don't vacuum as much as we should, I suppose. So there's that. But,
we solved the problem. We gave up vacuuming 5 years ago.
Just skip it.
We just move.
That's true. Well, I guess this place is done. No, I mean, but like, if someone slams a door, and something just shakes too much or whatever, or road work outside kind of sets him off. Doesn't mind.
Someday when he's really old and he's mostly deaf, he's going to be a lot happier. I'm not kidding.
So I should buy him earbuds.
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. When dogs get to a certain age, that thunder phobia, it's a thing of the past.
Very nice.
Yes,
okay.
There's a silver lining to losing their hearing later.
I feel the same way. I actually, because I'm 50 this year, and I feel like I'm the edge is gone, But so it's not so much a puppy thing as
How would you go about desensitizing? That's really what he needs.
Okay.
So if you had something specific like the door slam sound,
sure,
yeah. So the trick would be figuring out a way to expose him to the sound, but at such a watered down level that he doesn't react. So it has to be super quiet. In other words, it might just be somebody gently closing a door.
Sure.
Okay, you find out, if it's this quiet, he doesn't react. If it's, this level of force shutting the door, he does react. Okay, we take it down a notch. And you find something to combine it with that he thinks is out of this world, which for most dogs is food. Most dogs it's food. That's the easy one.
Bacon cheeseburgers, definitely.
Yeah, and so you take your brat and you chop it up into a gazillion tiny pieces because we're talking about a 9-pound dog. I mean, we can't give him a whole brat without consequences.
There are indeed consequences.
And you can make a recording of the sound for convenience. You can engage in a 5-minute exercise, maybe 3 times a week, in which somebody, knows how hard to shut the door over and over and over in the background.
Wow.
In the background at a level where he's not reacting.
Sure.
And somebody else is feeding him little tiny pieces of brat at a fast enough rate that he's not reacting to the door, and you take the volume up a little bit.
Very nice.
Over time, you get up to full volume, and he thinks that when he hears a door slam, all of a sudden his brats are going to appear. And so that noise becomes a really good thing.
Sure.
Yeah, that can be done.
I think I would probably do well with bratwurst. I'm a big fan. Johnsonville therapy. Interesting. So, do you get people who bring to you as patients dogs who have been poorly socialized? Do you get like the snarling? I mean, in your office, they're just like, "What do we do? Where did we go wrong, Dr. Kelly?" Your response is, you dramatically went wrong. You can't do that. You want to keep them
right. This is all your fault. You failed. Never get another dog, please.
Right. Goldfish only from now on.
When do we see really fearful dogs? I will say, sadly, that a lot of them are the secondhand dogs whose
Past
new
lives.
owners had nothing to do
Sure.
with their poor socialization.
Right.
But there are plenty of dogs who I see in the veterinary clinic who, I only see them when they are fearful. At home, they're fine. And I'm well aware of that
Sure.
too.
Right,
Yeah,
right. It's not the best.
I may see dogs at their worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever think of, maybe changing the decor of a veterinary clinic to look like living rooms and like dens and, just like a lot of sofas and a lot of televisions? Because then a dog would feel like, because it's so clinical.
Yeah.
Which it has to be for sterilization reasons, I'm sure. Maybe. Yeah. But I thought, maybe dogs and cats would be like, oh, another living room. Yay.
Yes, but remember how animals perceive the world so differently? It's the smells.
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. So when they walk into a vet clinic, they smell all the other animals that were there that
True.
day. And what's kind of crazy but true, they also smell fear. The fear.
Right, sure.
So when
lingering in the air.
the pheromones.
Yeah.
So when a dog or a cat experiences extreme fear, they leave pheromones behind that the next patient reacts to.
Jeez.
So sadly, if we are starting a day and a dog who's a very fearful patient comes in.
Do you notice a difference?
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy. Wow.
We bring them back in our treatment area and draw blood and they just lose their minds with fear.
That's right. Yes. That's crazy.
The other dogs who've been there before and done fine, some of them will be affected.
I suppose that's the same for humans in clinics, I mean, there's probably a part of that goes on too, because
I don't know. We're not aware. I'm not aware.
We're not aware of it,
Yeah.
but I wonder if it's going on.
But dogs and cats are in tune to that.
Yeah.
Consciously.
Absolutely.
When they walk in a room and go, oh my God, someone almost died here because of the smells that are left behind, they are afraid. They're terrified.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And so
I have a solution for you then. Constantly have bacon baking on some sort of little
cover
skillet.
it up. Well, we try to do that.
Bacon spray.
There are products that are synthetic versions of happy pheromones that we're spraying after the fearful patient leaves in an attempt to neutralize it.
Can I borrow that bottle? You have what I
buy
yeah. I need a bottle of happy pheromones.
You can buy it. Unfortunately, it's not cheap stuff.
Oh, well, no,
But
happiness is not cheap.
There's the cat version, and there's two cat versions, and there's the dog version.
That's wild.
Yes, and they are synthetic versions of pheromones that are released during let me think about this. For the cats, there's one that's released during nursing, so they associate it with feelings of contentment.
Of course, that's very cat-like.
So,
Wild, man. I don't know. Happiness in a bottle. That's what we learned today.
We try.
Both spray on and roll on for your happiness, for your protection.
Some clinics, when a patient arrives, they spray for a dog. They spray a bandana with this and put it on him as soon as the dog walks in.
Wow.
And then they, let him sit in the exam room eating treats for 5 minutes before anybody else comes in.
I bet that's the future of veterinary. I bet there's going to be a lot more of like that kind of controlled, to control the emotions and everything. There's probably a whole subsection of research that,
It's about making visits more humane.
Right.
Yeah.
And less of a wrestling match, I imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's never...
That's never good because it makes them worse for the next time. Yeah.
Yes.
You may get done what you need to get done efficiently, but you just made them an even more difficult patient for the next time they walk in.
Right. And then you say it's a little lingering in the air, so you've got fear in the air, then it's raised to terror is lingering, and then absolute all-out horror.
Every patient you see that day is worse than the last
just leveling
one.
Someone stop the madness. Wild. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for all the tips on those new puppies. And if you have questions about those new puppies, then I bet they're taking new patients up at the East Town Veterinary Clinic. All right. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
We'll see you next week.